New Yorkers are heading to the polls to vote in the Democratic primaries today in a contest that will likely decide who will be the city's next mayor. 8 major candidates are each trying to break out of this crowded field. And New York is implementing something interesting here, ranked choice voting. This is happening for the first time where voters can actually rank their candidates in their order of preference. ABC News Deputy Political Director Avery Harper joins us now with more on this. Avery, how does this new voting system work?
Well, Diane, you kind of just mentioned it. You know, folks are going to be able to rank their choices from 1 to 5 in this mayoral primary instead of choosing just one like they have in years past. This is a big test for ranked choice voting here in New York City. And, you know, how it's going to work in terms of counting is going to come into play if there isn't a candidate who gets 50% or more than 50% of that vote. And with so many candidates, that's highly likely. And so what we're going to see is New York City tabulate those votes, and they are going to eliminate the last place finisher in each round and then redistribute those votes to other candidates, to the lower choices for those voters. And so that counting continues until we have a winner, until somebody has more than 50% of the vote.
So could we start seeing this kind of ranked choice voting implemented in more elections around the country?
Well, New York City isn't the first place to implement ranked choice voting. There are cities like Minneapolis, San Francisco, Oakland, and California. You know, states like Maine already utilize ranked choice voting, and there are cities that are, you know, implementing it as we speak. We know that in Austin, Texas, they voted in support of ranked choice voting. So we're going to see it implemented in more cities around the country.
And what about at the national level? Could we see this in primaries for presidency, for example?
Well, there hasn't been much talk of that just yet, but you're more likely to see it in cities and in states.
What are some pros and cons to voting this way?
So advocates would point to a few things. They would say that it encourages candidates to reach out to a plurality of voters rather than sticking to who they might think is their base. They also would say that it encourages candidates to refrain from negative campaigning. But if you are looking closely and watching closely at the New York mayoral primary, you can see it's gotten kind of nasty, especially in the last few weeks. And so New York has bucked that theory. Also, it would eliminate the cost of a runoff. You know, in a primary like this one where there's so many candidates, we would likely have a runoff, and those elections can be costly, so it's cutting costs there. Opponents would say that, listen, anytime that you change the way that folks vote, that voting is habitual, you might lose some folks, and folks might not come out to vote.
Could this bolster distrust in elections right now, given how precarious that situation is, where a lot of people are feeling disheartened by the process? Is this the right time to make a change like this?
Well, officials here in New York City, the Board of Elections here has already said that it's going to take a while for those votes to be tabulated, those ranked choice votes. Tonight, we're going to have a count of the first choice votes for in-person votes today during Election Day and during the early voting period, about 9 days of early voting here in New York City. But, you know, there might be folks who, you know, fear that that length of time, right, in terms of tabulating those votes could, you know, impact or bolster distrust in that election. But listen, we're going to see the New York City Board of Elections says they're doing everything they can to make sure that all of their decisions, how they're tabulating those votes, is transparent.
All right. ABC News Deputy Political Director Avery Harper. We appreciate it, Avery. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.